intelligencesquared.com.
The tragedy about Pakistan, you see, at least this is what I say in my book, is that in many ways both democratic, or I prefer to say civilian governments, and military governments have both failed to develop the country, have both failed to create a more just and equitable system. I mean, the most successful, as far as economic development was concerned, was admittedly a military government, that of Ayub Khan. But since then, Musharraf seemed to be doing quite well in that regard, but much of the growth under Musharraf turned out, unfortunately, to be fairly empty. It was a consumer boom more than anything else. And the key reason for that is that no government has been strong enough, because the state itself is not strong enough, to change the fundamentals of the society. The domination of kinship, the domination of what are called in Pakistan feudals, the intensely conservative nature of much of society, the lack of education, the prejudice against education, the lack of women's education in particular, the extremely high birth rate which tends to swamp every attempt to increase services. So it's not just that civilian governments have failed, military governments have also failed, unfortunately. But on the other hand, and this I think also needs to be brought out very strongly, they haven't failed completely. The country has stuck together, or at least the west of it has. The east broke away. And I think that it will continue to stick together. And after all, that's quite something, given the neighbourhood in which it finds itself and the internal strains that it faces.
This government which the Americans are keeping in power in Pakistan is one of the most venal and corrupt governments we've had. He's learned nothing from the last time his gang were in power. I mean, corruption really does drown that country. From the top, that's where the fish is rotten, in the head, and then it seeps downwards. So, in order to preserve, and this he does whatever the US asks him. The big joke is whether Pakistan's ambassador to the United States, who's regarded as a well-known US agent for the last 25 years, shouldn't more appropriately be the US ambassador to Pakistan. And these are the questions people ask and talk about all the time.
I want to introduce a new political culture, democratic culture. And one of the elements is that I cannot put myself as the president. So I would much prefer that I am going to join the APML as a member. And when the membership drive is there and when we form a council, let them elect me and tell me whether they want me as president. So therefore, I am going on the path that I will be a member of the APML. Let us see then what happens.